the last time you did a stage dive?
Oh, Jesus. 95 or 6 was my last stage dive.
95, 96 was the last stage dive.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. I forgot when mine was. I forgot.
I used to do it a lot too. Like in the 80s and stuff, like at Black Flag shows and stuff, I'd be flying all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
Well, Chris of Internal Bleeding, I am honored to have you here in person.
Yeah, man, I'm glad to be here. This is awesome.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
So do we sip this, right?
Yeah, it's a sipping whiskey.
Enjoy it.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Because we're growing up.
That's right. Well, I'm grown up.
Mm-hmm. How old are you, Chris?
56.
Wow. And the band formed in 91, correct?
Yeah. Like it wasn't really a band in 91. It was me. I don't even remember the names. This guy named Tom who played bass, this guy named Brian who sang, a guy named Mike who played drums, and me. So we had like this band together, and I had a couple of songs that I thought were brewing, but like, how do I explain this? Like I knew what I wanted to do, but I needed people around me who could fill in the pieces that I knew was missing that I didn't have. So I fired all these guys.
You fired them?
Oh yeah.
Sick.
Not brutally. I just said it's not working out or whatever. It's just not.
It was brutal, huh? Yeah, I was kidding.
Everybody was cool when I said it. It's just not working for me, and there's no chemistry between all us. So like I said, we had I had 2 songs written. And then it fell apart, and then I recruited what would be, I guess, the first like official lineup that people know, because all those guys, Brian and Mark, and we never took photos or anything like that. So that never really existed in documented photos or whatever, Yeah. So and then after I got rid of them, then I got the first lineup together of people who complimented me and made me grow as a musician and really helped me find my voice, I guess, my musical voice, where I was going. I just I knew where I was going, and I needed guys to, I guess, guide me in a way. I don't know how to describe it. Like I was looking for pieces that I knew I couldn't provide, but I knew what I wanted. Like in the back of my head, I knew what I wanted, but I couldn't provide it, and I needed people to do it, and they did it, and they came, and they're like, I'd play a riff, and then, the drummer, one Billy, may he rest in peace, he'd be like, I'd play a riff, and he'd be like, yeah, and I'll put a beat behind it like this, and I'm like, that's what was missing. Yeah. I didn't hear the drum beat in my head. I only heard the guitar, and you put the beat that I want. Yeah. You put the groovy, hip-hoppy kind of groovy, hooky beat behind it, and that's what I was missing. In my head, I was like, I was like, okay, the riff is cool, but so that's how it. You had the sound in your head, kind of, and you're trying to get it out. Yeah, but did you consciously do that? Because did you consciously say, hey, I have these weaknesses, I have a sound, how do I make? No, I don't think it was. I think it was completely organic and by accident. Like I didn't sit down and say, this is what I need to do. It just kind of, I don't know, like an invisible hand kind of pushed it in the direction it needed to go. Whether that was in the back of my head and I never knew it consciously, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, were you like chasing like the sound? Like you like felt something? Right, exactly. You felt something. Right, I felt something, and when I got Billy and Anthony especially, Bill Tolley and Anthony Miola, those were like the main 2 guys that we started jamming together. When we started, like the first day, I showed him the riff to the song Invocation of Evil, the opening riff and all that stuff. And Billy launched into it, and Anthony watched what I was playing, and he launched into it. Something happened. Yeah, and I think Billy was the glue that made it happen. And Anthony and Billy clicked. I clicked with Billy. I clicked with Anthony, and all of a sudden we had something. We knew after our first practice together that we had something, because I think our first practice was probably like 9 hours because we were
9
just
hours
trading riffs back and forth and ideas and this and that and having discussions, like actual discussions. What, we all knew we had something. Now we got to get a bass player in. We got to get a vocalist. I knew a vocalist from my old band. He'll come in and he'll do it. He's really good. This and that. It was just really exciting, and it just before and long we had this guy named John Caluco playing bass. Great guy. I see him every time we go on tour. I see him out in Arizona. He comes out to the shows.
Sick.
And Eric Wigger on vocals. And he's a great guy, great tattoo artist. And I haven't spoken to him in many years, but I say hi to him through third-party friends, and he says hi to me through third-party friends. So we're still friends, third party.
Yeah.
So that was the first lineup, and it just clicked. We had so much fun practicing and writing, and
well, you had to click. You're jamming for 9 hours.
yeah, that first one, and we had a great. Our practice schedule was
Yeah, what was the schedule?
The schedule was, I'll tell you what it was because it's like burned in my mind. It was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday.
That's sick.
But that's what we wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? That's like everybody got off work. We went to our studio. And then Friday night, we'd all jam and then go out to a club called like Industry or something like that and go out and, try to meet girls or whatever.
Of course.
Get drunk and then sometimes even go back and write again.
After going out?
Yeah.
I never heard of it. Wow.
3 o'clock in the morning or so. Oh yeah. I had some of our best songs were written completely wasted in the studio.
Serious?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They mentioned that like you get more creative when it's like the crazy morning hours,
I can remember writing the album Driven to Conquer, and Guy Marché from Suffocation, he used to play in Suffocation. He was in our band before Suffocation. Him and I came back from this club Industry, and I don't even know how I drove back.
Yeah.
So I don't
I've been
even
there
know,
too. I get it.
Right. I don't even know how I drove back, and I can remember Guy and I writing the song "Falling Down" literally like plastered in like 25 minutes.
What?
At like 3:30 in the morning, just me and him sitting. Guy is like a unbelievably talented musician, and
phenomenal.
I was humming. I'm nowhere near as good as he is, and I wasn't picking up my guitar. I had riffs in my head, and I'd hum them, and he'd play them, and then he's like, "Oh no, let's do this, and let's do." And next thing you know, we had a whole song. Next practice, Billy came down, and Brian Hobby, who was playing bass, came down. We showed it to him. We're like, "Holy shit, this song rules!" Lightning in a bottle at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Lightning in a bottle after the club.
Yeah, after the club.
Dude, after the club, dude, even when I'm young, I'm going to bed.
Oh, dude.
I'm a pussy, dude. I need to step up, man. Dude, New York, you guys were just built different, man.
No, New York in the 90s, things didn't even start until, it's weird because it doesn't exist anymore because now everybody goes to bed. But New York in the 90s, shit didn't start happening until 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night. You didn't go out until 11 o'clock at night.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's when in California, that's when you're getting home.
Right. Wow. Yeah, because like I remember when we go play shows and stuff, and it'd be like, well, they have a curfew at 11 o'clock. I'm like, it's Saturday. Bars close at midnight. What? What kind of glue are you sniffing?
Yeah, playing shows, you guys was probably like, what the hell is...
Yeah, we were like, this is weird. What are we going to do now? The show's over. It's 11:30 at night.
It's like, we can go out right now.
Yeah.
This is like the time to go out.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, so Chris, there's a famous conversation that you and the band had. I say 91. Like when the word slam first came up.
Right.
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 How did that conversation go?
Okay, so makes me a little sad because I think of Billy.
Mm-hmm.
We used to practice in a place in a town called Huntington, and we finished practice and we went out for hamburgers to like this diner, and we're sitting around talking. We're like, so I'm a marketing guy. At the time I was a creative director at an ad agency. Like that's what I do.
Yeah, because you got out of school in 90, then you got the job at 93, correct? Is that
No, I got my job my first job I was working at an ad agency by 92.
Okay.
So I was an assistant creative director. So I would write, I'd write copy and design print ads and stuff for corporate clients and all that. So I was talking about marketing the band and what we should do. And we were using the word mosh, right? We used it a lot. We would say barbaric moshing, death vomit, this, that, all that.
Sure.
Because that's our music. We stripped away, most of the blast beats. We stripped away a lot of the speed, and we said every song has to be groovy all the time, nonstop. Even the fast parts, your head has to go like this. We're not going to play, no ping pong.
I love your jokes. It's like you don't want the song to sound like a fucking ping pong machine,
right?
Like you're stuck in a ping pong machine,
right?
It's funny.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but I got it. I was like, it's funny.
Yeah, no, I don't want. We didn't want that. Listen, I have nothing against it, but that's not what we wanted. I wanted all the time, nonstop, just no wasted space, no filler, no wasted space, groove constantly. So anyway, we're talking about mosh, and Billy got mad, and he's like, you know what? I can't stand Anthrax. And they use the word mosh, and it's like a joke. And we can't. We're a fucking slam band. That's what we do. And that's where it was born. I was like, holy shit, that's right. I'm like, that's a hardcore term.
Yeah.
I'm like, I used that term in the 80s when I was going to Black Flag shows. Nobody said mosh. Everybody said fucking slam. I'm like,
really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Slam dance. It got cut. It was slam dance, but it got cut to slam, And I was like, Billy, that's brilliant. Let's do that. So Billy came up with it, and we're like, full steam ahead. That's it. We're slam. And then from then on, I mean, I think you pulled up an ad that said total fucking slam.
Yeah. We had the actual flyer that.
Right. So that was everything said slam this, slam that, blah, blah, blah.
Total fucking slam, dude.
Right.
When was this flyer made?
That was that's for Perpetual Degradation. So that's probably a flyer from 93.
Wow.
Late 93, middle 93. No, that's actually 94 because the thing came out. So that's from 94.
Incredible.
So, people say, talk about, this band invented slam, blah, blah. I'm like, whatever, dude. I'm like, as we call Internal Bleeding was calling it slam before anybody even thought of the word to use as applied to death metal.
Sure.
I'm not saying we invented some kind of great thing, but we came up with the term. We pushed the term. There was also a band called the Demonacy in New Jersey that used the term, but they didn't push it as hard as us. I guess we were more aggressive as far as pushing that word into people's faces.
That New York aggression.
Right. And just constantly doing it, and it didn't turn into it never caught. I don't think it ever caught on until then I started noticing, I don't know, 5 years later, people started using the word slam. And I was like, hey, wait a minute. That's our word.
Wow.
It was funny. It was really funny. And, my vision of slam is not what slam is considered today. So,
yeah, because now it's a whole other.
It's a whole
thing,
right? It's a whole thing, and it has nothing to do with, what I think slam is.
So,
and that's no slight. That's just not. That's not my vision.
Yeah.
That wasn't the band's vision. Is that, the Speedy Blast, stop, riff, Speedy Blast, stop, riff, that's not our vision. Our vision was constant flow and constant hooky riff changes that, of course we had parts where you stop and there's the big slam riff and all that stuff, of course, but it's the grooves that get people. That's what gets people moving is the grooves. It's not, people get into the slam riffs, of course, but it's that constant groove. You can't sit still.
Mm-hmm. It's like, it just awakens something. You have to move.
It's super primal, know, and people will call it simplistic, and that's fine. I don't mind that term. It is. But Black Sabbath was primal too, and they're my favorite band, and their riffs rule pretty much over everybody. So,
yeah, Tony.
If I'm chasing Iommi, which I am,
yeah,
I think I'm in pretty good company.
Yeah.
You know?
Sick.
So I'm not like, I don't chase shredders. I don't, you know, all our guitar solos are bluesy guitar solos because that's what I like. And I'm an old man, you know, and that's what I grew up, you know, I grew up in the 70s. So that's what I cut my teeth on musically.
Yeah.
So that's what I like. You know, I'm a pentatonic guy, and that's my zone. I love it. I love old blues musicians. I love all that stuff. And I like it. I get a lot of compliments, and I'm happy about it. I get a lot of compliments from people saying, wow, the solo in, solo in Focus is awesome. It's like a rock and roll solo. And I'm like, thanks, man. I'm like, yeah, because that's what it should be. At least that's how I think. You know, if I put a shreddy solo over it, there'd be the emotion would be sucked out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned Black Flag. And was the term slam dancing a term in the 80s?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And even I remember I got a I don't have it anymore but I had a great Circle Jerks t-shirt where, you know, it's this drawing of a guy in all flannel and all this, and he's in the typical slam dance pose, like almost like the DRI pose,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
That's how you did it back then.
Yeah, like that, right?
Yeah. So I had that t-shirt, you know, when I was a kid.
Sick.
Yeah. And that's pretty much what I look like, except for for the blonde hair.
Actually, is that you? It could be.
I always
Do the slam. Is that a real shirt, you think? Do the slam?
that I don't know, but that's what they called it. That's what they called it back then. It was slam dancing. Slam dancing, pogoing. There was also pogoing where you like just go up and down and you know.
Yeah, because when you guys were coming up around that time, like it wasn't even like a genre yet, and death metal was it was kind of opposite of the groove. Like, it seems like you just really trusted like the vision. Hey,
yeah.
Like
all groove all the time. You know, I will say one thing that really annoys me.
Okay.
Is that we got compared to Suffocation a lot. And I love those guys. They're like some of my best friends. We sound nothing like Suffocation. We're nowhere near as technically proficient. The only thing people call the Suffocation is because we had that, you know, Suffocation had Legion of Veracity, which is an amazing riff, you know, chun, 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 chun,
Yeah.
chun. And our entire philosophy, I guess you could say, is like, that's what we should be doing and get rid of all the other bull crap,
Yeah.
you know? But it wasn't like we were trying to ape that. It just happened to be, you know, it happened to be, but like early on, people were like, oh, this is just another Suffocation clone. I'm like, what the
People were saying that?
yeah. I'm like, what the beep are you talking about? You
Yeah.
don't know what the beep you're talking about.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's just like, I'm like, this is the laziest fucking comparison ever. You know?
People do that. That was actually one of my questions I have for you. I was like, what are your thoughts on Suffocation and more specifically that first record? Because it just has that power.
I love it. I think it's a, you know, I can't deny that it's a powerful record. You know, I don't deny it's a powerful record, and certainly had influence on me. It's not my favorite Suffocation record. It's certainly influential and powerful, but it's not my favorite. I think there's a lot of that album that kind of just meanders. But that's their sound. That the technical, you know, Mike Smith freaking playing like a maniac, and Terrence and Doug Cerrito just going crazy. You know, we don't have any of that. But I appreciate it. I love it. You know.
Yeah.
What do I call it? I call it the buta buta beat. Buta 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 buta. You know, that really fast ride and high snare, which we never do.
Yeah.
But I love when they get into a groove with that, because that's like super punky but sped up.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I was going to
like
ask.
Punk on steroids.
But I was going to ask you, well, is there? But I guess from when you're not in New York, it's there. The scene. It sounds like there's like a New York sound where.
There's 100% New York sound. There's absolutely a New York sound.
Okay.
You know, Suffo has a New York sound. You know, so, but it's weird, right? So like, you have Suffocation, you have us, you have Pyrexia, you have Malignancy, you have all these bands in the New York area that all rule, but the New York sound, I guess, when people think the New York sound, they think of like us, Pyrexia, and Suffo, which is like the heavy kind of overbearing heavy sound. You know, it's not Mortician, which is from New York. It's not Malignancy, who's unbelievably technical and wild. You know,
They're a wild band.
They're unbelievable. Great guys, unbelievable band. I love them to death. But I don't know if they get considered part of the New York sound because they're so wildly different than, you know what I'm saying? Yes. I think people think the New York sound is like us and Suffo and like Pyrexia and some of the other bands that maybe some people don't know, you know, like Afterbirth, Necrosis. You know, I think the New York sound is, people say that, and I take it as it's the Long Island sound.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all those bands are from Long Island,
which,
you know, is part of New York, but they're all, you know, Afterbirth and Pyrexia and us and all, we're all from Long Island. We're all Long Island people. And I think we all picked up on certain street sensibilities and stuff like that isn't available to a musician in, you know, Champaign, Illinois. And that helps carve the sound as well. You know, I just don't think, you know, the hustle and bustle of New York and the craziness and the stress and the traffic and I think that all adds up into some kind of thing.
Of course.
You know,
of course, it adds up to some form of aggression.
Yeah, I call it, it's a thing. Whatever it is, that, you know, I can't explain it. I'm not a psychologist and all that stuff. Actually, there's a book about it. I remember this woman. I want to say her name was Donna Gaines. I remember her writing a book about like death metal in New York,
really?
Long time ago in the 90s. She was a doctor. Yeah, I met her at a Pyrexia practice. And I remember she was writing a book, and I swear her name is Dr. Donna Gaines, Gaines. I don't even remember. Did you find something up there?
we gotta find it.
I think that's her. Listen, this is like going on 30 years ago, so my memory might be hazy. Maybe it's that. Maybe maybe she was writing that. You know.
But is this her though?
I can't remember. I just remember her name was Donna Gaines.
Donna Gaines.
And she was very interested. She was very interested in death metal.
Okay.
That's probably her.
Okay.
Maybe the book she wrote fell apart and she didn't do it, but I remember her interviewing.
And this might have came out in the 90s.
It would have, yeah.
We gotta find this, dude. Maybe a metal book.
I don't know.
Is that it? No, that's the Ramones. Fuck.
Maybe it ended up in Misfits Manifesto. I gotta ask. Oh, there! Look, that Teenage Wasteland, Suburbia's Dead End. That's a picture of Pyrexia right on the cover.
Is that it? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Well, there's Daryl, Chris, Guy, Mike. Yeah. Yeah. So I wasn't losing my mind and going senile. I knew she was writing a book.
I'm very impressed with that memory.
Yeah, I remember talking to her, and she was really nice, and she was asking me these really interesting questions about the music.
What did she ask? And
why?
Why?
Right. She wanted to know why. She was like, it was constantly why. And then she was trying to synthesize the craziness of New York into the music and why it's like she was trying to put it all together. Why New York, why these bands sound like this. And from what I got from her asking me questions. So
yeah,
I never read the book. I just remember she was writing it.
Wow. Well, it sounds
like what year does it say it came out? 93, 4?
Let's see. We're trying to find some dates right now. Good old 98?
Oh, it came out in 98. This was way before that.
April 28, 1998.
Oh, the day after my birthday.
Is it?
Yeah, April 27th is my
birthday. 27th.
That's pretty cool. I can't believe I remembered that. It's so neat that I remembered that.
It's pretty close to 420.
Oh, yeah. Too bad I don't smoke any of that stuff.
I was going to ask you, what do you think of Skinless? Whenever I need music gear, I always go to sweetwater.com. If it's mics, headphones, or studio and recording gear, Sweetwater has you covered. Next time you need any music gear, support the podcast by using the link in the description and comment section below.
I like them so much that we have Sherwood Weber doing guest vocals on our next album. So
Really?
Oh yeah, I love them.
Fuck yeah,
great
dude.
Great band, great guys. Love playing with them. I mean, me and Sherwood have been buddies forever, and he's just, and me and Noah and I talk a lot because we're huge Sabbath fans. So we talk a lot, and oh God, I love him.
Noah's like the riff master, dude.
Oh yeah, dude.
Of like death metal to me.
Yeah, he's great. We're playing with them in. We're playing.
I saw that.
We're playing a festival in England next summer. We're headlining one night, and Skinless is headlining the other night, and the promoter's going to take us to like the Black Sabbath house from the first album, and to Birmingham, so Noah and I can geek out on Black Sabbath stuff. So I'm so excited. I'm going to sit on the Black Sabbath bench and
whoa.
Oh yeah, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to completely lose it.
That's great.
Yeah.
So this is the show.
Yeah, Offal Fest, right.
25th, 26th, 27th, Manchester.
Right.
That's dope, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's cool to hear that you guys are friends. And I didn't understand, to be honest, Chris, I didn't really understand the importance of internal bleeding because I was, we're talking earlier, like I'm a 90s kid.
Right, yeah.
And so my introduction to like groove and death metal was Skinless. And I pretty much, I went from Korn to Skinless.
Right.
And I found Skinless. I'm like, and they have, which I don't know if I coined this term or not, but I was like, oh, it's like a New York downbeat. That the way they like.
Yes. Yeah. Sure.
And then I was listening to
downbeat's a good word.
Yes, and I was listening to all your records. Like, oh shit, that's Skinless. Noah probably got it from.
Oh yeah,
Internal
they did.
Bleeding.
Yeah. Sherwood says that all the time to me.
Wow.
It's like, well, if it wasn't for you guys, and I can remember. I remember Sherwood being a 16-year-old kid going to our shows.
Really?
Yeah, before Skinless existed. We used to play up in Albany all the time where Sherwood lived. And he would be at shows. He was a fucking maniac.
What were the venues out there?
We used to play a place called the QE2 a lot.
That's an interesting name.
It's got another name now. I just don't remember it. And that was a cool place because you played. So it was like there's a giant like pit area, and then there was like a balcony, and you played up on the balcony like on the second floor. And the audience was on the first floor.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
That was great. When people start flying off, getting up the balcony and flying off the balcony. No, it's awesome.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Yeah, those shows were great. Those shows were great, and the camaraderie was great, and we had so much fun playing up there.
Yeah, I was curious. So it's good to hear that a band like Skinless like gave you your flowers early on because it's this. I'm not sure if it happened to you, so correct me if I'm wrong, or tell me what happened to you. Was sometimes like bands come up and they take the sound and they don't give you any credit. Did that happen with any?
I am sure. I know it's happened, and I'd rather not talk about it.
Sure. Yeah. It took
my ego. All right. So I'm so competitive.
Same.
Okay.
Fuck,
like
yeah, it makes sense.
I'm like I own my own business, this, that, the other thing. I'm super competitive. And I guess my ego gets bruised easily. And I'll be completely honest. And, there are some bands that I think owe us a lot and don't.
Sure.
And it upsets me. I don't know if it's my ego, but more that I'm wounded. Like I feel like a wounded bird because I was like, oh my God, I went out of my way back in the day to get you shows and help you and
nothing.
This and nothing. And
but yeah,
I should let it go though. Like as a businessman, that's in the past and so be it. And I understand bands have professional commitments and management and this and that, telling them what to do.
Yeah.
So my head understands it logically. My heart and my ego, I guess, hurt, a little bit. Yeah,
I was curious. I mean, you touched on it. I mean, there's only a few people on the planet I could connect with this kind of subject. I'm like, yeah, what is that? It's not ego. It's just like.
I think part of it is ego, and I don't think I have a huge ego. Maybe I do. I know there's people who hate me and think I have a huge ego. There's a couple.
Fuck yeah,
there's
sick.
a couple of people, but I don't think I do. I try to stay humble as fuck. You know, I wouldn't be doing this for so long if I didn't love it. But you know, part of my ego's hurt. But I feel like sometimes I feel like a wounded animal, and sometimes I feel like I want to just stop doing it because I'm sick of being abused. You know,
I know
sometimes, not all the time,
Yeah.
but you know, I get in those periods, like,
Sure.
you know,
I feel you. Yeah, there's yeah, I know that feeling. I'm like, should I just drop this? There's like there's we're in a very similar boat where there's like those couple bands that like kind of just took the sound, which is cool. You're like, oh fuck yeah, but then, dude, like, I'm 38, and so we are both older. So when the time passes and still nothing, there's this happened to me 2 years ago actually, and I had a conversation with said band, which we're actually cool with.
I think you could be cool with the bands,
Yeah.
even if you have harbor some kind of, I don't know if it's resentment, whatever,
Sure.
whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You understand,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, you're like, okay, and then I realized, okay, like it's never gonna be public, and that's fine. And then I just dropped it. I dropped it, and then now we're friends. It's just kind of, but there is like this weird thing in the back of my head. It's like this is something you never talk about.
Yeah.
I always wondered like why some bands do that, you know? Because where we're coming up, we talked about every band that we ripped off.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I ripped off Skinless, I ripped off Korn, I ripped off this band. You know, it's just
Right.
But so when someone else doesn't do that, you know, it's like when you were coming up, I assume you were talking about the bands that meant the most to you.
Yeah, of course.
Because this inspired me. So this is where. So when it doesn't get brought back, it hits the ego, and then with age, I learned to just drop it.
Yeah, you got to let it go. You got to let it go. And
it.
you know what I think? I think a lot of times ignorance isn't the right word. A lot of times it's not. It's just sometimes not on somebody's radar.
That too. It's weird.
You know what I'm saying? It's
That's
not on
weird.
somebody. You know, he knows all the influ. Hey, you found the QE too.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
That looks like shit.
I think that's it. In Albany, New York. Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
It's
cool.
it's something else. Anyway, I think a lot of it is. I think a lot of it is actually innocent and like.
It could be.
Like,
It could be.
I wonder if you fucking brought it up, they'd be like, "Oh my God, I didn't even think of that. I'm sorry." You know,
Yeah.
not that I would do it, but then so the flip side of that is there's huge bands who have paid us back. I mean, I got to play Knotfest. That's huge to me.
That's sick.
To me, that's huge, right? Okay,
Yeah.
you know, and we're up. You know, I'm sitting in the back room at Knotfest, and you know, I'm around all these guys who are like in huge bands. You know, I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, some mid-level death metal schlub, you know, and here I am at fucking Knotfest, you know, and there's Ghostface Killer.
Yeah,
and, you
yeah.
know, and Mick from Slipknot comes up to me and he pulls out his phone. He's like, showing me all the internal bleeding albums. He's like, I grew up on you. He's like, you're a huge part of Slipknot.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
He doesn't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Wow.
He just showing me all our albums. He's like, you guys, Immolation. He's like, you guys are so good, you know. And dude, I mean, they wanted us on Knotfest. I mean, how cool is that? As like
that's cool.
You can say what you want about Slipknot, whatever, but like
That's great.
they took and they paid for everything. You know, it was great. You know, Hatebreed took us out for 3 shows. And, you know, I'm sitting talking to Josh. He's like, oh, you remember playing at the Hamilton House together? And blah, blah. He's like, oh, I love R.I.P. I'm so happy we were playing together. And they paid it back.
You got to pay it back, man.
I thought that was great. If I ever got to be that big, I would like be dragging I tell the guys in Mortal Decay that they have to get together, and I will force them to play, you know, I'll take all the obscure death metal bands that I love, make them get back together or whatever, and play. Mm-hmm. No matter who hates them or whatever, I'll get to see them. So, you know.
Yeah. Are you aware? I mean, you're probably aware of like the deathcore genre, you know, and so obviously like multi generational humans have, you know, been influenced by your band, and I didn't realize, Chris, that how much influence the New York, the Long Island sound of Internal Bleeding really inspired like the California up and coming of the deathcore scene. I really didn't understand it until I really dove into your records.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, because I heard that fucking downbeat. I was like, how did I not know this? Like I didn't understand like the influence like you've had on myself and Suicide Silence and the whole deathcore genre. That's a whole other thing. That's gone off and still going off. It's pretty fucking incredible, man.
Yeah, and there's a lot of in what we do, especially more so than other bands. We have a lot of hip hop in our music, especially lyrical patterns. We put lyrics on the upbeat and stuff like that, like hip hoppers do, instead of following the downbeat 4/4 cadence kind of thing. You know, we'll put stuff on the upbeat, like, you know. Did you
get that from R.I.P and
Rakim?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Interesting. Did you read his book?
No, and you know what? I think. Oh God, Rakim's his flow is just like
he's regarded, which I learned from his book, like I guess he's like the goat of goats, where like all the hip hop artists go, hey, that he's actually the guy.
His flow is just king. His flow is king, and he's got such a beautiful voice. My favorites, those are like, that is probably my. I love Public Enemy too, but like R.I.P and Rakim is like, oh my God, it's so hard.
When were you jamming them?
Oh God,
what year or era?
Follow the Leader era.
What Jay, can you,
I don't know what year that is.
Jay,
90 something probably.
Yeah, Jay, can we type in pull up the record Follow the Leader by them, see what year that came out?
88. So 88. I thought it was.
I didn't
shit.
know that.
I'm fucking old.
Wow, 88. Holy shit.
Oh
dude.
my God, the flow is so good. It's just like, oh my God, it's so good.
Dude. I wonder if Korn stole that fucking album title.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's just, it's really good. It's just such a great, he's so good. The video's great too.
What a goat, dude.
Yeah, he's the goat. He's the goat. He's the man. I'd love to meet him.
Wow. But you, could you say you met R.I.P or you were around him?
R.I.P.
So you were mixing a record.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you know this story, right? So I'm like, must have been like 3 o'clock in the morning.
You went at 3 o'clock in the morning, New York. Wow.
And we're mixing our second album, The Extinction of Benevolence, and you know how you get that, like, when somebody's behind you and you get the hairs get up on your back of your neck.
Yeah,
kind of
you
thing.
feel like the fucking energy, right?
Right. So I'm like, oh fuck, somebody's behind me. I turn around, it's R.I.P. I'm like, I'm gonna go back look at the. He's like, yo, bro, that shit's deep. Just walked away. I was like,
that's it.
That's it. That is it. That is it.
What was he doing there?
I have no idea.
Where'd they from?
I think Queens. I don't even know.
How far is Queens from where you were?
25 minutes. With
it's not bad.
With no traffic. With no traffic.
Okay.
I think Queens. I'm not sure. They could be from the city, from Manhattan. Oh, it freaked me out. I was like, had to put my jaw back up, from being on the mixing console. I was like,
what you think when? What were you thinking when he left?
I wasn't.
You weren't.
I was just like,
yeah. Wow.
And what was the engineer? His name was Nick, I think. And he's like, what's up? And I'm like, do you know how that is? And he's like, no. I'm like, what? You're fired. I
sure.
Joking around.
I get it, yeah.
And I didn't tell him who it was. I was just like, wow, that is fucking awesome. That's like almost as good as our old vocalist making Taylor Dayne cry. So
Really?
Oh yeah.
What happened?
Oh God, when we were looking for studios to do our first record, I guess Taylor Dayne was in the studio too, and like all the studio intercoms were on. Mm-hmm. And Frank Greeny was like just making fun of her, like really, and we didn't know who she was. We just he's like, look at this fucking blah 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 blah.
Oh yeah,
because she had bodyguards and stuff. Who is this and blah blah. And she's leaving and she's like all upset and crying. And one of her bodyguards comes up to Frank, or was it me, and gives us a fist bump. because we got her upset. Wow. Yeah, it was pretty freaking funny.
I can only imagine you guys as being New York as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, we're just,
intercom, dude.
You know, I mean, we're like, we are the and one of the things I love about being in this band and the people that have always been in this band is everybody's got a thick skin and we are so mean to each other.
Fuck yeah, I love that.
Yeah, we are so like ruthlessly mean. Like our drummer Kyle, like today, like Kyle is known for like. He's a laid back guy.
Yeah.
And he takes his time with doing things. And it's just like, he was taking a shower this morning and we're like, we got the Garza Cup podcast. You got 5 minutes to get out of the shower. 2 seconds later, 2 minutes to get out of the fucking shower, you lazy piece of shit, you know?
Yeah. He's
like, shut up. Fuck you, hurry up. You got 1 minute. You know?
Yeah.
We're really mean to each other. We insult the shit out of each other.
You have to.
But that's what friends do.
Yeah.
That's what friends should do.
Yeah. There's something like, that's part of one of the main purposes even of being in the band is like to talk shit on each other. When they're to their face, when they're not around, it's just fun.
Yeah. It's great. It's a riot to just you know, and our other guitarist, Chris McCarthy, he's a fucking comedian. Like his one-liners are just he'll we'll crash the van because he'll come up with some one-liner and it's just like I'll be like he'll laugh so hard and you know, we're so mean to each other. It's great.
Quick question, Chris. So you have lived it. Like, what's the big difference you notice with the death metal scene in the early '90s to now?
Oh God, everybody asks me this question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference? I think the biggest difference, in my view, is the. How do I explain this? The difference between instant gratification and having to wait for gratification. And I'll explain it like this. Mm. Back in the early 90s, you had to write letters. You had to, in the underground, you'd get an envelope full of ads.
Or shit,
right? I've gotten shit. I've actually gotten shit sent to me. You get an envelope full of ads. And you're like, wow, this band looks cool. Mm. Wow, this band looks cool. Start writing letters, but you have to wait.
Yeah.
You send out your $5 for the demo or whatever, and you have to wait. You can't have it right now. You can't click play on YouTube. You can't go to Spotify, and you gotta fucking wait. And then you get it, and it's like Christmas. Mm-hmm. You're like, yes, I got this. They sent it to me. And it's like all of a sudden you just like that's gone. That having to wait and that tension of waiting and now everything is just, you know, oh, I heard about this band, you know, whatever, Fart Duster. Let me go to
pull it up, dude.
Right, pull it up, right? I don't think it's a real band. I just made it up. But you know what I'm saying? It's like Fart Duster.
That's a great one, man. Good.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, you know, but you can go right to Spotify or Bandcamp and find it.
Yeah.
But you know, you go to back then you go to a show and you hear people talk about Fart Duster and you're like, well, wow, how do I get their music? What do I do? You have to ask a friend. You have to get a flyer so you can get a mailing address to write and hopefully somebody writes back and then you get a letter back that says, you know, thanks for your interest. Here's the demo, blah, blah, blah. You know, cheers, Bob from Fart Duster. And then you have a letter. And it's like, wow, that's cool. I'm going to write him back and see if he writes me back. And then he writes you back. And then all of a sudden you have a friend.
Have you saved any of these letters?
Yeah, I have some left. I wish I saved more, but like, I wish I saved a lot of stuff, but a lot of stuff had to go because I've moved a lot and, you know, I still have a lot of cassette tapes saved, but I've saved a few letters that are special to people that, excuse me, that are people that are like special to me still. Like I still talk to them and we're still friends and stuff like that. And I always kept their letters. Mm-hmm. So nice. I guess for sentimentality or whatever, you know, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You know,
can you, just out of curiosity, because I personally have never experienced this. So when your band came out, it wasn't exactly. It took a while for it to click with the outside world, outside of Long Island and New York, more specifically. So when you're so we're talking letters.
Right.
So when someone sends you a letter, and I assume it says your band sucks, and there's literally shit in the letter.
I've gotten that.
What is that? Like what?
I don't know.
Are you like you open it up? You're like wow, and you just you throw it away. Like, what's like the?
Oh, no, I bring it to band practice and show everybody. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Somebody actually took the time. I'm like, we're living rent free. That is not us. That's a band from Italy.
Oh, sick.
Anyway.
You fucking brought it.
I brought it to band practice. That's fucking great. I'm like, we're living, unless it's a bootleg. Demo 1993. That is not our logo. That's got to be an Italian band. Yeah. I remember writing them and being like, no.
And then you sent your shit in that letter, correct?
No, I didn't.
You should have.
I got more gratification that somebody got so upset that they had to write a letter with shit in it. I was like,
wow,
this person has no life. Zero. That he got so upset about our music, and it was full of that. The letter was full of like,
what did it say?
Short hair, hardcore, pieces of shit, get out of the metal scene, blah, 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 blah. I was like, this is great. We're doing something right.
Wow.
I've got more than one letter with shit in it.
More than one?
Oh, fucking for sure.
What are people doing back then? Shitting in letters?
I'm not even going to contemplate what or how they did it.
Dude, that's just...
Oh, it's hilarious. I think it's great. And then I got weird stuff, you know. I've gotten underwear, like girls' underwear, bras.
Also, it's like being in a band. You get the highs of the highs and lows of the lows. Panties and shit.
Why is somebody who has no idea who I am sending me a fucking bra? I'm like, all right, I threw it in a box.
That's sick.
Yeah.
You get the bra, the top of the top, and you get the
bottom,
human
you
shit.
get the shit, right? Yeah, wow. You get the shit.
That's literally a good analogy of like life.
Oh yeah,
you know, like wow.
Highs and lows, brother.
Highs and lows.
Oh, I mean, a lot of that. I remember at Milwaukee Metal Fest, this one guy faked me out really good. He's like, holy shit, you're in Eternal Bleeding. I'm like, yeah, and he's like, you guys fucking suck. And I was like,
cool.
Yeah, I was like, all right. Sucked your mother's cock last night or whatever, you know.
Sure.
I said some kind of insulting thing back at him or whatever.
You have to.
Whatever.
You have
like,
to.
You know, sucked your mother's twat or whatever.
You have to.
Or whatever. It's just like,
what?
I'm like, that's awesome. The guy got so upset at my presence that he had to say something.
But that's what different music does. It just invokes this feeling into other people, which is what you wanted.
Yeah, sure.
But it's not all gonna be.
I don't get mad at it because listen, I'm not gonna. What I do is not going to appeal to everybody.
Yeah.
So be it. I like that people are passionate about it. Mm-hmm. You can hate my band. I don't care. Mm-hmm. You know, you can spew as much invective as you want towards my band. I don't care. That's your opinion. You're more than welcome to it. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, you know, sometimes it gets upsetting, but you know, it depends on my mood.
Depends on your
If I'm in a bad mood, I had a bad day at home or whatever, and then I see somebody slagging me or whatever, yeah, sure, it upsets me, but I get over it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's somebody's opinion. It's just an opinion.
Are you a moody person? Because I am. It's hard to like, because the mood is what makes this sick.
Oh, I know. My wife and I talk about this constantly.
But sometimes it spills over. Mm-hmm. It sucks, man.
My wife is like, my wife will do something like, and she'll knock and she's like, can you come out of your dark space, please?
Dark space.
Yeah, your family needs you, you know? Because I'll get lost in pessimism and
it's easy to.
You know, my wife thinks I'm depressed. Like, my wife thinks I'm like clinically depressed. She thinks I'm clinically depressed or I have some depression. And I'm like, no, that's the Greek way. I'm like, that's how Greeks are. We need sunshine all the time. And my grandmother was like, you know, my grandmother's outlook on life was like, be happy today because tomorrow you'll be fucking dead. You know, that's just how she, you know, it's how Greeks kind of are. They're kind of melancholy.
Where's your family from?
Originally, but my mother and father were from New York, but their parents were from Greece.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So they they migrated from Greece to New York?
My mother's side of the family, my mother's father escaped a place called Smyrna, Turkey, which was actually a Greek colony in Turkey because they were being persecuted. So they escaped to America, where my grandmother already lived, but she had moved from Greece too, and it was an arranged marriage and all that crap.
Arranged marriage?
Yeah.
Wow. We can't even fathom that today.
No, I know. And my mother and my father's parents, I don't know much of their history, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. I know that my father's father was from Greece and they came to New York, and my father's mother, I think, was from England.
Oh.
But they both died when I was a little kid. So I have almost no memory.
That's sad.
Yeah. I have no memory of, I have pictures of them holding me when I'm a little baby and stuff like that. My mother told me when my poppy, my father's father, was dying of lung cancer, he said to my mother, "I'm never going to get to hold Christopher again." And that Christopher being me. And my mother said that was the saddest thing she thinks she ever heard. Mm-hmm. And, I think about that and I'm like, that is really that's heavy as hell. To hear that somebody thought of you that much, that one of your last dying breaths is that you're never going to get to hold your grandkid again. I can't wrap my head around that kind of thing because I'm not in that position of dying, thank God. But, I can't. So but I don't know, other than that, I don't know anything about my father's parents.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, it was kind of bizarre, and this just hit me. A lot of, it seems like a commonality with humans that create music and tend to do their own vision and create genres that don't exist, tend to not know the most about their deep past, as far as where their grandparents are from.
Really?
And stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Same me. I don't know a lot.
I don't know a lot. I know about my grandparents. I know the people who I had interactions with. I know about my grandparents, my aunts and uncles. But before that, I don't know anything. I really should try to learn because it's cool. History is awesome.
It is. I want to learn more.
Yeah, me too.
Fuck, dude.
I just don't have enough. I don't have time.
What you have? You have 3 kids and
I have two kids, a wife, a house. I own a business.
It's tough to make time, dude.
No, it's impossible. Dude. I have the band. The band consumes a ton of time, which it shouldn't, but it does because we're more popular than ever. Knock on wood.
Good.
I'm happy for that.
That's what it should be.
But it's just there's so much work, and I don't. Man. I'd rather hang out with my oldest son and teach him how to change spark plugs on a car than go and research my grandparents' history because my son is here now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
dude.
And he's getting into driving now. So we did the first tune-up on his car and
Let's go.
He's learning all this stuff and I'm a hot rodder. So it's he's like, "Dad, how can we make the car go faster?" Blah, blah, blah. So it's I almost got him into hot rodding and I'm going to be psyched when I get him into hot rod and we'll rebuild an engine together. And that's my dream. He'll probably get bored of it and be like,
hopefully not.
And now he's getting into metal, which is I took him to his first concert, which was cool.
Was it?
Dragon Force.
Oh, really? Took him to his first show? Sick.
He went to.
Nice.
I took him to Dragon Force, and he loved it. I liked them. They're fun.
Fun.
They put on a fun ass show.
Yeah.
It's not my music, but he loved it. He just loved it.
Man.
That was great. And he just went to Megadeth. Mm-hmm. And he just went to Slipknot. So it's all right, I've got a metalhead in the family.
That's dope.
Thank God.
What do your kids think of your music?
They don't think about it. My youngest doesn't think about it much, right? Mm-hmm. He just knows dad went away and he's playing with his band. But my son, it's interesting because my son, he doesn't care about it, but his friends come over and some of them geek out that I'm in internal bleeding.
Wow.
So and so he's like, "Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Really? Stop talking to my dad."
Damn.
It's great though, it's cool. I think it's awesome,
That's dope,
and one of his friends plays guitar, so we talk about guitar together.
That's dope.
Yeah, and it's cool, but it's just I think it makes my son a little embarrassed.
Sure.
Maybe, I don't know. You know, I took my son and all his kids away to the Air Force Museum in Ohio.
Yeah.
This summer. We flew out, had a great time with the kids and all that stuff, and we had a blast. And my son didn't seem too embarrassed, but every once in a while, I think he gets embarrassed.
Sure.
You know, and I'm like, I'll walk away. I'm like,
yeah,
you know,
like, Dad, go away, Dad. Yeah. You're fucking embarrassing me, man.
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
Chris, I just want to say, man, I'm really sorry about your friend Bill.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate that.
It's sad, man. He passed away 2017, right?
Yeah.
And he was a firefighter, and he passed away from a accident on the job.
Yeah.
And I guess one of these really important facts about your band I really don't hear anyone talk about is that because it seems like, I guess it's going to open up a story, so I'm going to let it go the way it's going to go. But so obviously you're from New York. He was a New York firefighter.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And he was there when on 9/11 when Twin Towers came down. He was literally there pulling bodies out of the rubble.
Yeah, he was.
You know, and he also had an ex-girlfriend that was also working there.
I know. I had the ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, you.
Yeah. I had the ex-girlfriend. Billy was not. At that time, Billy was not in the New York Fire Department. He was a volunteer fireman.
He was a volunteer?
Yeah, in Hicksville. And him and his fire company went out to 9/11 to help. And then he got into the New York Fire Department a little after that. He wanted to be a fireman since he was a little kid. He has baby pictures of himself with a fireman, man. That's all he wanted to do was be a fireman.
Man, he had to tell you some stories.
No, he didn't. You know, he'll talk about it, but he usually talked about the fun stuff. He didn't talk. He talked about 9/11 when we started writing the Onward to Mecca album. He was talking a lot about 9/11 and what it, you know, all seeing all the bodies and all that, and how pissed off he was, and you know, like he didn't know how to process all the emotions about it and all that stuff. So that's kind of the only time he really opened up about it. But he usually talked about the fun stuff that happened at the fire department.
Is that like a New York thing? It's kind of, hey, we're just gonna a little bit too deep to.
I don't know if it's a New York thing. I just don't, or I don't know if it's. You hear a lot of combat veterans don't talk about the ugly stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Because why bring up the old wounds? I don't know. So I know a lot of combat vets don't like to talk about what happened to them. So, you know, you can hear a million stories of a guy saying, my grandfather never talked about World War II. Ever.
I know. You hear that pretty often.
Right. So I'm sure that Billy had a little of that.
I can only imagine the shit he fucking saw, man.
Yeah, because like you start talking about it, it's like, Jesus Christ, I got to relive carrying this fucking dismembered arm and trying to find who the arm belongs to and all of that. I got to relive that because I got to talk to some schlub who wants to know about it. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want to drag it up.
Yeah. You know, but you're not like a schlub. You know, you're like
no. I know we were best friends, and I never asked him either. You know, so if he volunteered stuff, fine, but I would never go, oh, so what was it like to, you know, I would never, because I trying to be his friend, and I just like, if he wanted to talk about it,
sure.
I always let him know that he could talk about it.
Okay.
But I never pushed it or ever asked for him to talk about it.
Wow.
So
I guess only you would know. I mean, you were there feeling the room.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, you know, that's that. I don't know. That's what friendship's about. You gotta respect boundaries, but you also got to be there when they need you to be there. So
sure.
I was always there for him whenever he needed me, and he was pretty much always there for me whenever I needed him. You know, I mean, we talked on the phone. Oh my God, we talked on the phone like 5 times a day.
Really?
Oh yeah. First call was like 7:30 in the morning. He'd be on his back porch smoking a cigar. I'd be smoking a cigar. We'd talk about what cigars we're smoking. We'd talk about the weather, this, that, you know, and then call me 20 minutes later. Oh, I got an idea for a riff. And then he'd call me again. And then we'd just be like, all right, I got to go. And, you know.
Yeah, he would send you
riffs. Voice. Oh, God.
About beats, right?
Oh, yeah. And guitar riffs. One time he sent me, we were just talking about this other day. Me and Chris McCarthy were talking about one of the riffs in one of our songs. And Chris McCarthy brought up the memory. He's like, I remember when Bill sent that riff, he said he was listening to a woodpecker in his backyard, in the backyard.
That's sick.
And it sounds like a riff.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chris hummed what the woodpecker was doing. And then I remembered, I'm like, yeah, I remember that. And we turned, that was a sick riff too. He used to do it all the time. But then sometimes he'd send me riffs. Like one time he sent me the Charlie Brown theme song.
Yeah.
He was like, jun, 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 jun,
Oh my God, let's go.
I'm like, dude, Bill, that's the Charlie Brown theme song. He's like, no, it's not. I'm like, it's the Charlie Brown theme song.
He tried to trick you.
I'm like, he's like, it's not. I'm like, did you watch Charlie Brown at all? He's like, I watched it with my daughter a week ago. I'm like, that's where it came from. It's not your riff. He's like, fuck, really? Man. I'm like, yeah, it's fucking Charlie Brown.
Man, Bill was, talk about a drummer that was ahead of his time, man.
You know what? He wasn't. Okay, so this is what I always say. He was ahead of his time for death metal.
Yeah.
But he was not ahead of his time as a drummer because he was a 70s drummer. A 70s, early 80s groove drummer. But everybody was going for, when death metal was going on, everybody was going for speed and this and that. And Bill was like cymbal slashing and, you know, like real Mitch Mitchell and stuff like that. You know, that was his. So it was because of it, of our age and where we came from and what we grew up on. You know what I'm saying? He didn't go into the whole death metal thing like he did, of course. You know, I mean, I'm not saying he didn't, but he had that hardcore sensibility. He had that Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath sensibility. You know, the early Iron Maiden sensibility. He had all those sensibilities because he grew up way back then, and he put them into his. Yeah, I think Billy was just so unbelievably groovy. Just like he had such good touch and groove, and it just, you know, his cymbal work was incredible. Like he'd just come up with some cymbal stuff, and I'd be like, where did that come from? That is so cool, you know. And he loved it because he loved his cymbal work too. He loved cymbals because I can remember being in the studio and he's just like, "Can you make the cymbals louder? Can you make the cymbals louder? Can you?" I'm like, "No, stop! They're so freaking loud.
All you hear is
all you hear is cymbals." He's like, "I can't hear my bell." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I have a headache."
Yeah,
you know.
All I hear is bell right now.
Well, I hear it. We're not even listening to anything, and I can still hear the damn bell in my head. You know, that's how loud it is.
Damn.
Yeah, he was just so incredibly talented. Great dad, great friend. Funny as all get out, like just one-liner king, just really funny. Great guy. Think about him every day, and it's another reason why I won't hang up this band, because like I feel like sometimes another part of him will die if I stop.
Yeah, and
it's a bit of a burden I carry.
Yeah,
I guess because I want him wherever he is to be happy that we've made it so far and we're still here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you guys are still here, and I just wanted to put some light on Bill, because no one really talks about Bill as like a drummer and what he's done for multiple genres at this point.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think he was a great, super groovy man. I mean, like him, and like as far as death metal is concerned, I think him and Anthony Ipri from Mortal Decay are the grooviest, most creative drummers from death metal. Yeah. That's my view. Oh yeah. Oh, listen, okay. You don't know Mortal Decay?
No.
Oh my God. No. That's my favorite death metal band. Just,
really?
Yeah, the greatest.
Okay.
And you, as a guitar player,
yeah, you
will love how twisted and wild John Hartman and Joe Gordon, those guys, their harmonies are just incredible. Just an incredible band that I think should have been huge.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm like their biggest cheerleader. I talk about them all the time. I absolutely love them.
Man, we got to get you a shirt and wear it every day, man.
I have like 100 Mortal Decay shirts. You know, they're my favorite death metal band for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, it's really cool fucking hanging out with you, man.
Yeah, man.
I really came interested in talking to you and your band when John Gallagher brought up your band name.
Yeah.
So I was asking about, where Slam came from, and you were one of the first bands that he mentioned.
Yeah.
So it's cool that he he went out of his way to give you the flowers.
Yeah, John's a good guy.
Yeah. Was he one of like the first like people that you guys really connected with outside of like New York? Because it's
yes, actually, yeah.
It's like, oh wait, he gets it.
Oh, that's exact. Oh, that's exactly the words. He gets it.
Yeah.
I remember getting the. I don't know if it was John or Jason sent me the Bathe in Entrails demo.
Yeah.
And I was like, ran to practice with it. I was like, dude, you got to check these guys out. They get it.
Oh yeah, they get it. Yeah. Yeah.
And we were all cranking that demo. We're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, these riffs are sick. I'm like, these guys get it. It's groovy.
Damn. Wow.
You know, and we used to hang out. We trade shows back and forth. There's a video on YouTube somewhere of us playing at a place called Wilmer's Park in Maryland, and you can see there was nobody at the show.
Yeah.
Us, Dying Fetus. I forgot who else was there. And there's this video. You could see Gallagher in the crowd, fucking going nuts. You know, yeah. It was, and you know, they'd play and we'd go nuts, and we'd play and they'd go nuts. And there was like 9 people at the show, you know, or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah. Nobody. We didn't care. We'd go back to. Yeah, you could see John right. John's in the crowd.
Really?
Yeah, somewhere.
This is it?
Yeah, that's it. That's Wilmer's Park in Maryland.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, crank this shit, dude.
It's Despoilment of Rotting Flesh is the song.
And John's in there moshing.
Yeah, John's in there moshing, yeah. Wow, I'm playing a Gibson Explorer. I threw that guitar away.
You threw it away?
Yeah. It's the biggest piece of junk ever.
Yeah.
I spent so much time saving up for that guitar.
Yeah.
Because I wanted an Explorer.
Yeah.
And I bought it, and like after like 3 shows, the polyurethane on the back like started melting off, and
Oh my goodness.
the build quality was terrible. I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't believe I spent whatever it was, like $900 on it back then.
Wow.
Never bought a Gibson again.
It's good.
Never.
Yeah, never. Nope. Dude, in Turtle, Bleeding, and Dying Fetus were literally like creating like the building blocks.
Yeah, look, we're playing in front of like 12 people.
93.
I think Jason Netherton told me he filmed this. Yeah, that's John in the baseball hat over there on the left, I believe.
Damn, man.
Yeah, so we'd play for them and they'd play for us. So we had our own concerts together, you know.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, right after I'd play, I'd get in the crowd and wait for them to come on stage. And then we'd go to Jason's, I think it was his parents' house or his mother's house, and we'd sit in their garage and drink all night.
Of course.
And jam and play and do whatever. Damn. So much fun, yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned those like early shows where there's just nobody there.
No, none. No.
You know?
No. Early shows, they just stunk. They were awful. Just awful.
Maryland, November 6th, 1993.
Yeah, Wilmer's Park.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
It's cool that it's fucking up there.
Yeah.
You know, it's fucking dope.
Yeah. There's some good old videos up there, which is I look back and I'm like, God, I don't have one gray hair. Look, that's so this show is in Ohio, I think at the Red Eye Lounge. Yeah. I was right, Ohio, and
Death Fest.
I had 102 fever at this show. I remember that.
Oh, that sucks ass.
Yeah. I was like swilling orange juice and like I was so sick. It was a great show though.
And the Explorer's gone.
Explorer's gone, and I think that's a Jackson.
Went Jackson, okay.
Yeah,
Sick.
either that or it was my Charvel Model 6. I can't tell. I think that might be my Charvel, which I regret selling. But
why haven't you and Fetus toured recently? It makes so much sense now.
Ask John. I'm sure it's a management thing. You know,
makes
I don't
so
know.
much sense right
I
now.
think it does. I would kill for it, man. I mean, you know, I would love the opportunity to do it, just to hang out every night and play, you know, make me feel old times.
Yeah.
Which would be great, you know.
Talk about like a full circle moment. Like, you guys built this fucking thing.
Yeah, but
dude.
they're just on a totally different level than we are. So, like, I don't think it'll ever happen, but you never know.
You never know, man. If we keep putting it out there. You know?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I mean, listen, I hope for it, but I don't put any stock in it. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
You know?
When's the last time you talked to John?
I talked to John last summer, and we played together at Hell in the Harbor in Maryland.
Nice.
Yeah, and we hung out for a while. We had a lot of laughs. It was great.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Had a lot of laughs, a lot of smiling and cracking up about, you know, stories about being in Jason's garage and
Wow.
yeah. And my mother being horrified about when they slept over my house, and my mother was horrified at their band name. Why'd you pick Dying Fetus? That's such an awful name. Why? And you're such nice boys. That's what my mother said. You're such nice boys. You're such nice boys. Why would you do that? And poor John and Jason, they're like twisting in their shoes because they're getting. Oh, my mother just like she didn't mean anything bad.
Yeah, sure.
John and Jason didn't know what to say. And, Jason was trying to intellectualize it, like this is the music. And she's like, well, I don't get it. But you're very nice boys.
Wow.
Yeah, she did that to Mortal Decay, too. They came over to my house for my parents' house for like a pool party or whatever.
Yeah.
And my mother's like ogling their tattoos. Why would you do this to yourself? What does this mean? And then those poor guys.
Wow.
My mother was awesome, though. She was cool. She's like, but you're a nice boy. I bet you're a good family boy.
What did your parents think when you started showing them tunes?
My father loved the music. He's like, wow, that must take a lot of work.
Yeah.
But those vocals are terrible. And my mother was like, I don't want to hear it. So. Yeah. And my mother never, it's funny, my mother never gave a crap about the band, ever. Like, she was one of those people who like, when are you going to grow up? And
yeah.
But then I guess as she got later in life, she was like, she thought it was I don't know when it switched. It was years after she retired from work. When she was working, she was always like, when are you going to get a life and this and that?
Yeah.
My mother was a cutthroat businesswoman. And so,
nice.
Right. Yeah, she was. She was manager of a huge department store back when women weren't managers of department stores, Oh, wow. So she was ruthless.
Yeah.
A smart businesswoman. But she thought all this was a waste. I should be focusing on my career and, all that crap. Because my mother was a very driven woman, like I am. But I was driven in a different way. I was driven by music and I was driven by my career. And I said, why can't I have both?
Yeah.
Why can't I do both? And so, I don't know when it was. Sometime after she retired, she just started telling me how amazing she thought it was that I was going all over the world and playing music and,
That's awesome.
And then there was a couple of times like I'd be in a mall with my mom and people come up for autographs and my mother be like,
damn.
My mother be like, what the fuck?
That's a big moment.
For my mom, it was.
Yeah.
Like that changed her whole like perspective on what I did. I know that's so superficial. And it should be like, I'm so proud of you for whatever, but that kind of, and when there was a giant picture of me in the New York Times, like my mother called all her friends, buy today's New York Times, my son, that gave it credibility for whatever reason.
Sure. That
gave it credibility to my mom, and my father was always, do what you want. You only get one life.
Yeah.
And who says you can't have two careers,
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't think it's superficial. It's just like people just need to see things, to kind of like, especially for the kind of music, like they need to see it for it to click sometimes.
Yeah, no, my mother was, I don't want to say she was superficial, but my mother was, my mother was status conscious.
Sure.
So things like me being in the New York Times, the New York Times is the paper everybody read. So that's a status symbol. So it was, my mother was liked stuff like that.
Yeah.
She worked in a luxury department store. She worked in Bloomingdale's. So she was surrounded by status stuff.
Sure.
So it's okay.
Yeah. You know what? Hey, you mentioned being really competitive. For someone that doesn't know, was there ever a rivalry with the Florida and New York scene at all?
I never.
Nothing?
I felt a rivalry with everybody.
Nice.
Yeah.
Me too. I was like, fuck.
Not. Yeah. Well, basically.
Yeah.
That's not but that doesn't mean I'm not your
friend,
best friend.
Yeah. It's funny. Me and you think very, very alike. It's like we're like, fuck you, I'm gonna kill you, but also at the same time,
let's go get a drink.
Let's go get a drink and hang out and be best friends.
Right.
And, anything, I'll probably be the first one there, but also, I'm gonna kill you.
Right.
It's like this crazy. A lot of people don't understand that mindset.
They should, because you know what? The more people who are competitive, the better the product.
100%. You know,
And that's totally the product is better if you're not competitive or you don't have that competitive edge, I don't think you're ever gonna refine your product.
it's true. You got to be on that. You got to be on your toes or edge all the time, dude. It just brings the best.
Yeah, it brings out the best. Now I can admit, as I get older, my competitiveness is waning.
Okay.
All right, because I've been competitive since,
Child.
Yeah,
Kid.
since a kid, and it's tiring. It is. It's tiring to be competitive because you always have to. My wife will say things like, she's like, you never take a second to celebrate a victory. Never. She's like, you're already on to the next thing that needs to be conquered.
Yeah.
And she's like, you need to take a step back and you need to chill.
Wow.
Like, I don't know what happened. I think like with when we got a string of shows with Hatebreed, I was like really excited about it. I knew they were going to be big shows. I knew they were going to be awesome. And I was really excited about it. And it was a victory. And I was like, I told my wife about it. I was already on to like, what's next? And she's like, you just told me this was like one of the coolest things that's ever happened. And you didn't even sit back and relax and enjoy it. You just went on to the next fucking thing.
Is that a good thing or a
no?
bad thing?
It's a blessing and a curse. Okay.
Yeah.
And as I get older, I realize it's a little bit of a curse because I'm sometimes not present for my family because I'm being too competitive. And
that happens.
Right. It does happen. It does happen. I get into my own space, my competitive space, and I lock out. Everything gets shut out, and it's not fair to my kids and it's not fair to my wife. And I chose to be married. I chose to have children, and I have to honor that commitment.
Yeah.
So I have to dial back the competitiveness, and I've been working on it. I can't say I've perfected it, but I am.
Yeah.
And my wife has noticed a difference.
That's great.
Yeah. And I've actually talked to therapists about it. I'm not afraid to admit it. I talk about like how I'm always moving on to the next thing I don't enjoy, and they help give me some perspective. So it's cool. Like I've learned to like downshift.
Yeah.
And I feel way better.
Good.
I feel way better. Now 30-year-old me would never say that. 56-year-old me says it.
Man,
it took
25 years.
It took a long time.
Yeah.
It took a long time, but
man.
I would even tell you, I mean, you're still young. I would even tell you, just smell the fucking roses once in a while.
Dude.
Chill out. This is one of the reasons I smoke cigars.
Really?
One of the reasons I smoke cigars is because you have to focus. Like right now I'm smoking a cigar just because I want to, but I can say I'm taking a victory lap and I'll grab a cigar and I'll grab a bourbon and I'll go outside on my front porch. The world goes away and I celebrate my victory. My wife will come out. We'll hang out on the front porch together. I'll smoke my cigar. I have a drink. My son will come out. We'll talk about cars. We'll do this. And, these last like 2 hours. And I just had 2 hours of downshifting and putting things into perspective and celebrating a victory. And I celebrated it, with my wife and my kids, and I'm not being harried and stressed, and I'm happier. So it's also a tool of focus and distraction.
So how do you feel after it's done? You're like, oh, that was the right thing to do.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
I was like, I needed that, and I owe that all to my wife because she's beaten me up about it.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Not being a jerk or anything like that, but she's like, you're missing out on a lot of your life because you're always on to the next thing and you're so fucking competitive.
Yeah.
And I get it from my mom. My mom was insanely competitive. Insanely competitive.
Wow.
That's how she rose so high, in her field, because she would step on anybody. She's like, I don't give a fuck if he's a man. I'll step on his face. You know?
You kind of have to do that to get that next level, man.
Yeah. Like my mother never believed in anything my mother never believed in stuff like feminism and all that stuff. She's like, why? I'll just kill the man. I'll step right over him.
That's
how my mother, that's how my mother was. She was like, It was pretty inspiring. It was pretty inspiring to see my mother being like, and my mother didn't give two fucks. Like my mother was like, with my teachers, whatever, you know, if a teacher, like, I'll never forget that my mother forgot to write an absent note for me.
Yeah.
And my teacher, Mr. Riley, said to me, he's like, I want you to mother to write an excuse note why she forgot the absent note. I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, I'm serious. So I told my mother got so fucking mad. She wrote him like a 5-page letter and called him the most horrible names you could imagine. I'm like, I can't give this to him. You give it to that piece of shit. I fucking work 12 fucking hours a day and I forget one thank you note, one absent note, and he's telling me I have to write a note. I pay his fucking salary with my taxes. Fuck him, you know?
That's sick.
Yeah. My mother was the kind of person who would yell at people for parking in handicap spots.
Wow.
You white trash piece of shit. You're not even handicapped. What are you doing? What happens if some handicapped person comes and has to get out of her car or his car? Yeah. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, me and my sister are like, oh, God.
Yeah.
She'd come back. She's like, that's just not right.
It's kind of cool to see that, though. You got to fucking...
my mother was... And my father is like, he was like the most mellow... my father liked to yell, but like he, generally speaking, everything rolled off his back. Like,
yeah,
Dad, you're not worried? Why? You're not dead. You know, that was my dad. My dad was like the stoic. They were great. I love my parents. I miss them dearly. They were a comedy show.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, dude, that's what I think that's what a good woman does. They'll just push you, and it seems like.
They push you out of your man zone.
They want you to accomplish the impossible. Like you're weaving in and out of your man zone. You need to be a ruthless, savage man at this point, but also switch it at the quickest second and be chill. And you learning that dynamic and that kind of how to compartmentalize in an instant. That's what seems like what they try to help you do.
Yeah,
you know,
they try. Women, a good partner completes you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like my wife completely completes me.
That's cool.
She knows exactly how I think. She knows what I'm going to do next, and she knows how to get me out of a hole if I'm in a hole.
Yeah.
And she knows when I'm feeling vulnerable how to make me feel strong.
Wow.
You know, and you can't put a price on that, man. I think a lot of guys, and I was always all my whole life a commitment person.
Mm-hmm.
So I never went like the crazy 5 girls, this, that. I always went for relationships.
Yeah.
You know, and they were generally always long term, you know, and I try to tell some of my friends who are just like out chasing girls all the time. I'm like, it's empty. It's kind of empty. It's cool. It's fun.
It's cool for like a period of time, but there's just like some switch where like I'm tired of doing this.
Yeah,
I just want and
stability and
yeah,
somewhere soft to land. Sometimes you just need somewhere. That's what my wife says to me. She's like, "You're the person you're my soft landing spot." She's a social worker.
That's a cool way to put it.
Yeah, she's a social worker in a high school, and she deals with kids who are like, you know, where's your arm? Oh, the gang chopped it off. You know, like that's who she deals with on a daily basis. Like a mess. She deals with kids who are just like in trouble all the time, and it's got to be emotionally horrible to deal with.
Yeah.
So I'm her soft place to land after that. After a day of school, and she had to deal with, you know, this girl who's like 13 and pregnant and doesn't know what to do and this and that, you know, she deals with all that. So she needs somebody to like be there for her. because she's there for everybody else, and that's who I am. And I love it. I think it's great that I can do that. It's very rewarding.
Yeah.
You know?
How long have you been married?
18 years.
18.
Together for 20.
Damn.
I know. I can't believe it. I can't. It's like crazy.
It's all because of the cigar.
It's all because of the cigar, and my wife got me into she's terrible. My wife got me into all these so I'm like big into what would you call it? Gentlemanly stuff. Okay, like I'm a throwback guy. Like I like Humphrey Bogart movies and things like that. So she got me into old school shaving with a straight razor and safety razors and stuff like that, and shaving brushes and stuff. She bought me that for Christmas once, you know.
Oh shit!
So she knows I like this old school stuff. So she knows I like whiskey because that's so old school, and she knows I love watches because watches, everybody wears an iWatch or something, but I always wear mechanical watches. Yeah, because it's old school, you know, and I love all the old. I actually have a whole website dedicated to that called themetalgentleman.com, which is all about bourbon reviews, shaving cream reviews.
Dude, listening to you talk about it, it made me want to I need to get back into aftershave.
Dude. I have a million. You go into grooming. There's a million aftershave.
I need to get a good aftershave.
See, look, I have there Bay Rum. There's a Bay Rum. If you scroll down, there's a Bay Rum aftershave review. Osage Rub aftershave review. Lime shaving soap review. Barber Blue aftershave is amazing. So I'm into all this old school stuff. You know, I mean, I drive a muscle car. From the 60s, I'm just stuck in the old school. There's my car.
Boom, that's fucking. Yeah. That's what slam looks like.
Yeah. It's a 68 Barracuda.
If you want to know what slam looks like, you need to look at this car.
You need to listen to it. That's it sounds badass. I love it. That's my pride and joy.
That's fucking dope, dude.
Yeah, it took me about 10 years to restore it. It was a piece of junk when I bought it, yeah.
Jesus, man.
Working every day in my parents' basement on it, and I had half the car disassembled in their basement.
Wow. Yeah, and you put it all together.
85% of the work is mine.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. I had professionals work on the body and stuff, so it would look, because I don't know anything about that. But yeah.
Holy shit. Well, internal bleeding is making a lot of sense now. That's fucking dope, dude.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, Chris, I know you guys got to get to
watch reviews.
How do you say the one to the left?
Prospects, speed timer.
The name, the brand.
Seiko.
Yeah. So you mentioned Seiko being the most affordable, correct?
One of the most affordable, high quality watches.
Yeah. Okay.
There's better. I mean, that Phoebus Wavemaster is absolutely gorgeous watch.
Yeah.
But the internals of that watch are made by Seiko.
Oh. So are they connected somehow?
No. Seiko sells what's called their movement. That's what makes the watch work.
Damn,
Seiko sells their movement to other watch companies. Yeah. So yeah, it's fascinating. Like that Seiko watch there, that luxury without the price tag, that's like $250. It's a fully automatic watch. It's super reliable. It's a great watch. The watch over on the right is that's like $1,500. That's a Zodiac.
Oh, wow.
I bought that because of the Zodiac Killer, because if you look, that's the symbol of the Zodiac Killer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's supposedly said that he wore that watch. That's how they fit. That's where he got his symbol from.
Oh, really?
Is from the watch. Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, so that's why I bought the watch. I was like, it's in the movie Zodiac. It's in the movie Zodiac too. It's like, they're like, oh, that's a real nice watch. Let me see it. It was a Zodiac. Super Sea King, yeah.
So
see, there's the symbol.
That's where he got the symbol.
That's what they theorize, yeah.
Interesting. I mean, where else could he?
Who knows? It could mean anything. The guy was a nut, but that's the symbol, yeah.
Damn, how many people did he kill?
I don't remember. I'm just fascinated. I'm fascinated by it because nobody caught him.
No one caught him.
And the ciphers and all the codes and all that stuff. I'm like, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I wonder how many people was.
At least just 5.
Oh, 5? but they never caught him.
They never caught him.
Oh yeah, in the San Francisco Bay Area from now, claimed to have murdered.
Right, he claimed
people.
to have murdered 37, but we don't know if that's the truth or not.
Damn. Dude,
Yeah.
holy shit, dude. From 68 to 69.
Yeah.
Some of also the most magical years of music
Oh yeah, and cars.
and cars.
Yeah.
It's the 60s, man.
Yeah, I know.
It'll never happen again.
Yeah.
You know, fuck, dude.
Hey, the 70s won't happen again. The 80s won't happen again. And
True.
90s won't happen again. And every
True.
decade has its thing.
It's true. I wonder how people are gonna look back at this time with like music. I wonder how they're gonna look back at it. Oh, that shit sucked, or that. Oh, that's pretty cool. I wonder how it's gonna all pan out.
I think they're going to be like 20 years from now. I think the people are going to be like, God, that shit sounds so fake. Because there's going to be a revolution. There's going to be a revolution in music where everybody goes back to
Yeah.
recording live. We were talking about this in the back on the back when I said I was listening to that one song and I was like, wow, the guitars fell off. And then I had to realize that
Yeah.
it was recorded in the 90s and
Yeah.
I wouldn't have cared
Yeah.
in the
True.
90s, and now I do. And I just think there's going to be a revolution.
Yeah. Someone needs to come out and just fucking pissed, dude. Like we did our first record live, and no other band in our genre can do it.
Right.
So I think there might be a time where like it just inspires like a new.
Yeah, there's always
Generation.
a pendulum to these things.
True. Yeah,
You know,
true.
I remember the what was it called? Like, what was it? 10 years ago, the loudness wars, where everybody just compressed everything to be as loud as possible.
Yeah.
Now people are backing off. Some people are backing off on that, and I think there's I think some of that is. I think there'll be a bit of a revolution.
That'd be dope.
Yeah,
That'd be sick.
I won't be around for it, but
I'll probably be dead too.
I hope it happens.
I was taking a piss this morning. I was looking in the mirror. I was like, damn, I got some more gray hairs today. Like, fuck, man.
Welcome to the family.
Yeah. Dude, I literally like right.
You got hair, so that's good.
It's good. Yeah, I think it's the
Half my band's bald. They have no hair, which I make fun of constantly because
You have to.
I'm twice everybody's age and I have like more hair than any of them except our bass player who's 12, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, he doesn't count.
No.
Chris, anything I missed? Any closing thoughts? Or anything,
No,
man?
thanks for having me, man. I had a
I'm honored, dude.
great conversation. We're off to San Diego for another show and
Brick by brick.
yeah.
You guys are doing a world tour in a month. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, this is crazy. This is 3 shows in California, 1 in Hawaii, 1 in Thailand, then 3 in Australia, then home.
Whose idea was that?
Well, it was
It was God's idea.
no. So it was wild ass coincidence.
Okay.
Okay, so like when we first hooked up with our manager Mark Vieira,
Yeah.
I said, listen, I said, I'm in my 50s. I'm not going to be around forever. I'm not looking to be a rock star, but there's some bucket list stuff I want to do.
Oh, okay.
And I took it down, and he's like, all right, we're going to do what we can to make it happen. And literally, it's like, got an offer for a show in Hawaii. I'm like, how are we going to play Hawaii? All right, let's play 3 shows in California, and the promoter from Hawaii will fly us to Hawaii from California. Great. The minute that show was announced, a guy from Thailand calls our manager and says, do you want to play in Thailand? No, sorry. A guy from Australia calls and says, do you want to do 3 shows in Australia? And we're like, hell yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
The jump is too much. And then like snap. Guy from Thailand calls. I see you're playing Australia. Come to Thailand. I'm like, oh fuck, another bucket list place. I'm like,
Damn.
I'm like, we got to make this work. You know,
That's
it's
great,
gonna be
man.
a ride from hell, but we got to make it work because it's all bucket list stuff.
That's great, man. My favorite place to go is Bangkok, Thailand. I don't know, there's something about walking those streets. It's cool.
Never been.
You have food. Yes.
I'm looking forward to street
Fuck
food.
yeah, man.
I'm sure I can get some really cheap watches too. So I'm like, they'll probably be fake, but I don't care.
It's connected to the memory, and you know.
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I'll buy like a fake Rolex or something. It'll be hilarious.
Shit, anything coming up? Or you want to talk about? Is there like a new record?
Yeah, so we have a new album. We have a new album called Settle All Scores that's pretty much done being recorded. And we're shooting to come out with that in late 2025
Great.
on Maggot Stomp. So we're looking forward to that. Settle All Scores. The title is about us settling scores with people that fucked us, and
Yeah, man.
we don't name names, but it's a very personal album for like me and Chris McCarthy and stuff like that, because there's, you know, the industry's full of a lot of people who aren't good. It's also filled with a lot of great people too.
That's the funny thing about industry.
But this is about the people who've treated us wrong and ripped us off and taken money from us, and you know, bad people. So
It sucks that we all have to go through that, man.
it's part of
sucks.
it's part of the business.
It is part of the business. It has happened to you at least once or twice.
Right. Yeah, a couple of times, a bunch of times, but it's like, but then you meet some people like, you know, you meet some people who are just like, our manager's fantastic. He's just great. He's like, he actually cares about the band, which
That's
is great
to hear, man.
Yeah.
It's great to hear.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, you've inspired, you and Internal Bleeding have inspired multiple generations of bands and throughout multiple genres. Like the whole, like the slam scene's coming back. Bands like Peeling Flesh are popping off right now, which is a band like you guys should probably tour with. Like the whole deathcore genre, if there's no Internal Bleeding, there's no deathcore. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, well, like,
it's cool, man.
Like Ben from All Shall Perish said to me, he's like, there would be no All Shall Perish if there wasn't Internal Bleeding. If I didn't listen to that Driven to Conquer album, you know.
Damn. That's fucking badass, dude.
Yeah, it's great. And we're playing with them. They hooked up, they talk about paying it back. They hooked us up with 2 shows in New York. So
really?
We were one in New York, and I think we're going to play with them in Boston. So
nice.
Yeah.
Great. I know Eddie mentioned something that they're doing something next year.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
It's great to hear that you guys are on those shows.
Yeah, it's great. I love Ben. I know Ben, so I've known Ben forever, and he's such a great guy.
That's dope, man. That's cool.
I texted him when I got, you know, my manager asked me, said they're snooping around looking for opening bands. I just texted Ben. I'm like, dude. He's like, I'm going to ask everybody. And like 5 minutes later, he's like, hell yes.
Yeah.
You know, awesome.
This is how the text went. You text Ben, hey, let me show you how it's done. That's what I do, but it's all playful.
Yeah.
Say, you guys want to see this show? Because I will show you how it's done real quick. it's all fun though.
Yeah, of course.
It's all full. So check out the new record, Chris. Again, thank you for your time. I'm honored.
Thank you, man.
I'm honored to actually sit down and see you in person.
Thank you,
man.
Thank you for the nice cocktail. I appreciate it.
Anytime, man.
All right.
Thank you. All right, everyone. That's it. Later.
Thank you.